this video was going to be a lighthearted look at the wholesome side of Reddit, but then I got distracted by murder, which did lead me to remembering how much I love looking into missing persons cases. And so that's what's brought us to today's video. A full disclaimer before we start, my research is pretty relaxed. It's mainly a blend of reading Reddit, some news articles, and the ever-living Wikipedia. So, without further ado, let's look into the Cynthia Anderson case. Cynthia vanished in 1981 while working as a law firm secretary in Toledo, Ohio. She has not been seen since. She was described by her family as a golden child. Very obedient, good grades, pretty much everything you would want if you're a very strict fundamentalist family, which they were. 2 weeks prior to her disappearance, she had gotten a new boyfriend and got into a Bible college, which is apparently a thing. On the morning of August 4th, 1981, Cynthia went to work as normal. People had talked to her on the phone as late as 9:45, but no calls were answered past 10 a.m. By the time her employers arrived, she was gone. Her purse and keys were missing, but her car was parked outside. Additionally, the door was locked, but no notes were left, and no phones were put on hold. Interestingly enough, the romance novel she was reading had been left open to a scene where the main character was getting kidnapped by knife point. Prior to this, Cynthia's sister had overheard Cynthia talking to their mother about disturbing dreams she had been having about getting harmed or kidnapped. Cynthia had taken this as a warning to danger that was coming. An office colleague also reported that Cynthia had received some disturbing phone calls near the time of the disappearance. The colleague said they witnessed Cynthia get a particularly disturbing call the day before her disappearance. They considered her reaction to this being one of extreme distress, and despite their asking, Cynthia would not provide details of the call. It has been about 40 years since Cynthia became a missing person, and since then, no progress has been made on her case. There have, however, been multiple theories that popped up surrounding the case. One of the first theories to pop up was after an anonymous phone call had been made to police stating that Cynthia was being kept in a basement. However, with no address or even hint of location given, this proved to be a dead end very quickly for investigators. A second popular theory that came up is that Cynthia staged her own kidnapping. Things that people use to argue this theory is that there's no sign of a struggle, her purse and keys were taken, the office was locked up, and her abandoned book. And while there certainly is an argument to be made with all of that, I actually find myself leaning more towards the theory of there being a secret stalker. There's really nothing to give any evidence that her family was anything but supportive towards her. In fact, her father pursued her case up to his death in 2008. So I would say they were a very loving family indeed. She had gotten a new boyfriend very recently. She had tons of friends and she was making money. She was about to start college. There's really no reason for her to have staged her own kidnapping to run away. Along with that, she had money in a bank account that has never been withdrawn, and her social security number has never been used since. As for the book being used as evidence, I think a question that needs to be asked first is romance her preferred genre? If romance is nothing outside of normal for her, then it's very likely a coincidence, as kidnappings are an uncomfortably common thing in romance novels. However, I do know that it is incredibly common for fears, even subconscious ones, to make themselves known in the form of nightmares. If Cynthia had even the slightest feeling that she was being followed while she was receiving those distressing phone calls, it's very likely that she would have had nightmares about being harmed or taken away, which would ultimately come to pass. What stands out to me the most, however, in this case is that there's no sign of a struggle and her purse and car keys are missing with her. To me, that leaves two likely options of either one, she was going to her car to get something when she was kidnapped, or it was someone she trusted enough to go with, which I think would be the saddest outcome in this situation, to be harmed by someone you would trust. Anyways, that is the Cynthia Anderson case for you. I know it's an awkward end to a short video, but I was not very sure how people would feel about a crime story video, because as much as I like doing things like this and looking into these things, I don't know how other people feel about it. So this is me testing the water, so to speak. If you like this video, then I'll happily do more of them. Maybe for a future video, if again people like it, I can cover 2 or 3 stories in one video. And with that, I'm Belle Marie, and we'll see you tomorrow.